Good morning, traders. It is Saturday, June 7th, 8:10 a.m. Eastern Time. Welcome to another video with Digital Goatz Academy. I'm your host, Antoine Farrar. First and foremost, I do apologize. My voice is a little bit hoarse. I was at an event the other day doing a lot of screaming. So if I sound like somebody completely different, rest assured, this is definitely me. But if you're tuning into this video, hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe as always. Now, let's get into our weekly review. If you've been following me on YouTube, you probably realized that I didn't drop out any videos this week besides market overview, which I gave my forecast on what I believe the market may do, which was pretty much spot on. The only inconsistency is that from Monday to Friday, the market did a lot of manipulation, you know what I'm saying? So it definitely hit me a little bit. So started off the week great. In the middle was kind of, but at the end of the week, we definitely ended off strong. But what was more important than even just making the money is that we got clarification on our overall directional bias of the market. That's what I'm excited about. So again, if you've been following this channel, you know that when we were, well, one, we specifically talk about indices because that's where the money is at. I'm not trying to downplay Forex, regular Forex pairs, but even my predecessors told me that, man, when you get to a certain level, you're going to leave those Forex pairs alone. I didn't believe them, just like I'm sure anybody that's watching this video is like, what you mean? I make money from that. And I understand. I understand that we make money from testing. Yeah, okay. I understand that we make money from these pairs, but if you're looking to scale yourself to a higher level, you definitely want to evolve and get more consistent with indices. It doesn't have to be your main pair, but I would even say test the waters where you're trading it maybe like once a week or twice a week, probably once a week if you're just starting off to switch over from Forex pairs. But that's where the money is at, and it follows in conjunction with the stock market. So you can pretty much double down on your investments. And that's what we've been doing at Digital Goatz Academy. Now, that's just a sidebar conversation. Let's go into what happened overall this week, right? So this is the daily time frame. This is where we're currently at. The market closed bullish this week. You know what I'm saying? It closed bullish on Friday. What have we pretty much seen consistently from Friday closes, especially when they've been bullish? We've been seeing that they either been pulling back or gapping up. But either way, Fridays have always ended bullish, not on the higher time frame, like on some of the smaller time frames, but you've been able to spot like a higher time frame. I mean, a bullish move on Friday. That has been the consistency. So my expectations is that since we kind of did that last week, we'll probably gap down in order to collect a little bit liquidity. But I don't think that we're coming back to these lower areas on US 30. So currently we're sitting at 42,000, not we almost reached, you might as well say we almost reached 43,000, right? And it rejected that. That makes sense. There's resistance right here. So what I'm thinking is that we'll probably gap down and then the market after like Sunday, Monday will be the push up after it gaps down and plays with everybody feeling. So we'll see. But the most important thing is that it's playing to our inverted head and shoulder, right? So let me just kind of, if you remember us talking about it, we got our right shoulder here, and I'm gonna make that green. Now, this is just a pattern where we're identifying to match our confluence, right? We didn't know if this was going to be an inverted head and shoulder. One thing that I did say, and again, it still has levels that it still needs to break to confirm that it is treating this as an inverted head and shoulder, and it's not going to try to come back to this gap in order to create support. We're still ranging. We have failed to break out this level, but I will say that looking at S&P, one of the other indices, that's the baby sister or the baby brother, it broke out of its level. So just seeing that indices kind of follow each other, knowing that US 30 is kind of like the leader, the indices tend to follow each other off of market cycles. So S&P is back at $6,000. Yo, like That's what we've been looking for. That's what we've been talking about. So now our next level would be 6,100, then 6,500, then obviously what we've been talking about at the beginning of this year, 7,000. So again, that goes into my predictions on, of course, we're going to go back to 45,000 with US 30, but can we get to 50,000? I do believe that we're going to get to 50,000. Just look at the assets across the board, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin specifically. We're back at 100K, you know what I'm saying? We're floating between that 104, 108K markway, which is basically telling you what is accumulating orders in order to break out. And it's probably not going to break to the downside. We probably haven't seen, like, we probably won't see those lower numbers from Bitcoin ever again in life. Same thing with US 30. So, when I'm looking at indices, that's what I'm seeing. I'm saying, okay, one, identifying the pattern. Left shoulder, head, that's still there from our previous markup. This is the head. This is the right shoulder. And again, it's not going to be like I've always talked about, it's not going to be in the way that you want to see it. So we want to see, this is what we want to see. You know what I'm saying? We want to see that picture perfect. That's what we want to see. That's how the illustration teaches us. And then even on the reverse, can I flip this? And even when you're looking at your standard head and shoulder, right? If we were looking for cells, this is what the banks teach us when you're learning trading. This is what they teach us what we want to see, right? So it fixates your vision to always see it in this direction and not understand like this is just a model. You know what I'm saying? This is just giving you a model, but we normally want to see it like where it dips like that. And it's not like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's never gonna because if something like that is being shown to you, that's probably a manipulation tactic. If you can easily spot out a pattern, guess who else can easily spot out a pattern? The banks, other traders, you know what I'm saying, that have more equity against us, you know what I'm saying? So this is what I'm seeing from here. And again, it's not picture perfect, but hell, if the market lines up the way we want it to go, then that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? So that's probably the more better version of it. But again, it's not picture perfect. And even then, we still needed to push another bull candle up to confirm it because it brings out a bear candle that comes all the way back down here. It's violating this pattern and it is building resistance in order to come down because we did just hit 6K, like I said, from S&P. Now, I'm not thinking that we're coming down. I'm just, again, this is how I fixate my mind on being prepared if some bullshit happens. But as far as like the technicals, based off of what we learning, again, just taking it to a line chart and you break it down on the smaller time frames, you can see that price broke a high, retested. Price broke a high, probably pulled back with what? Wicks right here. So when you see this off of structure, so when you see this information off of structure and you see that, man, this was like a shallow pullback. Remember, turn it to a candlestick chart in order to see if wicks pushed down because that was confirming it, especially how many times it rejected. So boom, this was the structure, but you could see we pushed all the way down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. That confirms it, especially with Wix, that confirms it. It does not want to come back down here. You know what I'm saying? So we treat it as such. Now we have a bullish engulfing. Again, I started from where we were at currently and closed, and I worked my way back. You know what I'm saying? Just looking at the information. Now it's off. It's easier for me because I've been following this. But again, when you open your charts, you should kind of have this same thought process. You know what I mean? Like, okay, what did the market do? Okay, where did we come from? So we just look at last week well, let's not focus because that's what market overview is for, focusing on Sunday. Let's focus like what happened the middle of the week up until Friday. So as you can see, this was Sunday right here. I still have that annotated. Now we broke out Monday. Where was this? Tuesday. So yeah, we broke out Monday. We pushed back down Tuesday. Definitely saw that coming. What area was this? 42,000. So once we broke out of this area, this is where I was telling the group, this is what I was telling the community that we'll probably come back to this previous level. I did say that, and it did come back to this previous level. I was thinking more of this level, but the one thing that I did mention is that I showed the team on Trading View. I mean, not Trading View, Trade Locker. It doesn't show the same way because oh well, here it is. So we were looking at this candle right here. We were looking at this daily candle. Here's the thing that like whenever I see candles like this, if it's not a strong candle like this bullish engulfing right here, and I see either I think this is called hammer. Yeah, this is called a hammer pattern for the bull candles. But anyway, everybody can do that research on their own later. But anyway, the fact that this candle closed like this, it wasn't strong, and we didn't continue breaking. My expectations was that the market was going to come back to this at least 100% of this candle, at least. So my area that I was initially looking at was down here, and then I was like, okay, when I broke it down to a smaller time frame, I could see that maybe it could come down here. I did have a sell limit order. I mean, not a sell limit, a buy limit order for 42,250. Look where it came down to if you look on the right-hand side. So see where the prices are at, where my cursor is at. So look where the black is at, and look how where price came all the way down to 42, basically almost two flat, and I was off by 50 pips. Well, no, 500 pips. No, that's 50. I was off by 50 pips. All right. So 250, right? That's where my area was for the buy limit because it did respect that, and then it dropped down a little bit lower to what? Force people out of their positions and then bring the market back up. Man, if I would have kept that buy limit, I would be swimming in US 30 right now. But again, that's what it's gonna do. And that's what it goes into sticking to your bias. But we'll get on a conversation about that later. So with it confirming for me, and again, we don't know these things are going to happen, but when it starts giving you that information, treat it as such. Treat it as a confirmation for your confluence, yo. So right here, the fact that one already had a level of support, I already understand what's going on. This is consolidation. This was another level of support that I had on this side. So it one respected the breakout of this consolidation because I normally leave my consolidations like a tan or orange color. So I know for a fact that's consolidation right there. This is support. I've already labeled it. Well, okay, the market pushed up, made a bullish engulfing, broke through this high right here, closed above it on the daily, so it broke. We have to believe that this market is continuing up. So what I'm hoping is that what we'll get for Sunday is a gap down. If not, if we get a gap up, it'll probably continue pushing up until it wants to fill that gap. So hopefully the gap isn't too like monsterish because that's like damn, we kind of could have still been in that trade setup. So what I'm hoping is that this is a fake out right here, and I think that it wants to come back to this level right here. I think it's trapping people in order to bring it back down. So we probably will have like a slight push up. So we'll kind of have to see between Monday and Tuesday, but I am looking at it to come down to like a lower level. Since it broke out of this, where did I make this? Why did I make that? Oh yeah, I know why I remember made that. That's where that price was building up. So it did a shallow pullback. I've seen this before. I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but if it does gap down, I'm thinking it's coming back to this level. And these are a buy zone anywhere from really, if you just match up a fib. So you see how this match lines up with our 786. So at the lowest, I would expect it to maybe come down to 88. Let me see. Yeah, because this was the bar, blah, blah, blah. So at the lowest, I would think that we would come down to like 786. I don't think that we're coming down to 88% over here. But again, it's just whatever the market does. Like, yeah, sometimes we be pretty good on using the Fibonacci to spot that. That at least has given us an idea on where the market could return to. It's not saying that I kind of got fortunate by saying that the market was going to come to 42. And it's like that when you use Fibonacci, but you don't know when the market is live. Like, because I had an initial sell position that I could have still been in, but the way the market, the way the market reacted this week because of non-farm payrolls, like it just didn't seem right, you know what I mean? And you want to obviously protect your assets over like trying to see, well, let me hold it. That's the gambling part that you don't want to get consumed with as a trader, trying to see what's going to happen versus like having confidence that it's going to happen and then you executing based off of like information that you gain. But right here, this seems like a fake out to trap people in. So we'll see. If it does gap down, then that kind of matches up with my suspicions on we'll probably be at this. Because think about it, just think about it logically, like break, retest. And of course, the market doesn't come down to these levels like you would like it to do. You know what I'm saying? So it's not exact, and you do have to treat it as such. So this was our first point of contact, but I don't think that will um I don't think that I think that we have enough time to pretty much test this area. I would like it to see it test this high versus doing this pullback, this shallow pullback, which is it's not bad because if you look at it on the let me see, 4 hour. What time frame was that? I think it was the hour, not the hour. I guess it was the 4 hour, and it's because it's how it closed. But on my trade locker, it looks a little bit different. So it had that bull candle, and then it had the bear. Oh, okay. This is what I was trying to see. So this was kind of the move that I was talking about. It looks a little bit different on your trade locker because of the time frame. So you see it broke out, it retested this area right here. It pulled back. This was your bear candle, and it has a continuation, right? Now we don't know if it's continuing because this is just how it closed, but if it broke down, we already have a level that we're looking to buy off of, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So it shouldn't be a surprise if it gaps down. We're just kind of waiting to see what happens. Because we've kind of closed like this, it'll probably like consolidate. So, well, if it does gaps anywhere, it'll probably consolidate like sideways or upways until it's pullback zone and then buy up from there. I don't think we'll see like anything lower than this, but to me, this looks like a trap that's trying to trap traders in. And then we'll see because the market ain't live. So yeah, this information looks like, man, this thing is about to shoot up, which I do believe that we are extremely bullish. But again, since we closed like that on Friday and then going into Sunday normally corrects what Friday was doing from what we've been seeing happening, consistently. So it's like there's not really even any point unless the market shows us talking about the market coming back down to these 41,000, even 42 flat. I don't even think we'll see it at 42 flat again, or 42.2. I think if anything, we'll see it at 42.5. Maybe like 42.4, but I don't think we'll see anything lower than that. And again, it's indices, so you got to be patient and really, because we're trending, we know the direction now, we're trending up. We should be looking at it day by day, but hone in on your entry, obviously on the hour, smaller time frame, 30-minute, 15-minute, to be as accurate as possible. But look what the daily candle is showing you by allowing it to close if you're not already in it. Obviously, still take your money. We know the direction, but just take your money. Since you know the direction, you can always get back in. We know that this market is moving up. We know that the stock market is moving up across the board. You just got to find the right stock to invest in. But the momentum is here. This is the correction that we've been looking for. All we need is the breakout. And the breakout's going to be somewhere up here, yo. So 45K, I definitely believe that that's what we're doing with US 30. So this week was exactly what we wanted it to be. Filled with information, even though it kind of beat us up because of the quote unquote uncertainty, but that's just manipulation in the market. It still gave us exactly what we wanted to see. You know what I'm saying? Somebody with a little bit more capital managed to do a lot better than other traders and stuff. But the information was right there and nothing really changed. The only thing was how I was reacting when the market was open live for New York and then waiting for it to close because of like, again, how it responds. It doesn't look like this. Like when it was live, these candles were much larger and gave a visual depiction of like, oh man, could this thing like shoot all the way down to the bottom and then pop back up? You see what I'm saying? So I think this is where we had our move. Yeah, this is where we had our move. And then I saw that, what was this, Thursday? I saw that Thursday we were going to push back up. So I was confident going into non-farm payroll that we were going to push up. And that's what happened. The 8:30 candle shot this thing up. So since it's 8:30, when you look at how the market retests, okay, 8:30 candle based off the hour, right? Okay, so 8 o'clock candle. Is this the hour? 9 a.m. candle was bullish. So was the 8 a.m. candle. Correction came from the 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12 a.m., 12 p.m. candle. And this is where we bought up around 1400. So around 2 o'clock is where the market bought. Around 1 o'clock is where the market bought up from. All right. Yeah, so this should be a continuation if we don't get a gap. So I am expecting a gap, but I just don't know which direction. If we gap up, we're continuing to buy up, and then the market's going to come down and use that gap to as information to fill the market, right? If we gap down, it's coming back to this level in order to buy back up. But we'll just have to see, like I said, how the market responds, which we've been very good at waiting for. Sunday has definitely been showing us exactly what we want to see. We just had to be patient enough and not be in the market to kind of let us show us hand and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Again, it's early in the week, so it's going to throw manipulation tactics at you. So gap up, we're continuing. I hope it now the gap has to be like a big gap. If it's a big gap, we're continuing. We're not coming back down. If it's a small gap, it's going to pull back and then push up in the direction that you initially want to see. But Sunday has definitely been telling us what the direction has been. If you've been noticing as a trader, like Sunday has been opening up bullish and the market will stay bullish. It won't come back to Sunday. So look at Sunday's candle and see if the market is coming back to Sunday. Once it breaks above Sunday, Monday or Tuesday or below, that's the direction probably for the week until we get a reversal or maybe some news that could change the direction and stuff. But we've been building exactly what we want to see. And that's not consistent. Don't just look at that and be like, la da 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 da, Sunday, it's bullish, so let me start buying. Like, nah, that's not how it works. But you get a little bit more clarity on what the overall direction is, at least going into Wednesday and Thursday. You know what I'm saying? As long as it doesn't during London break below or above that. Like last week, Sunday, I think it gapped down a little bit and then it broke below it. You know what I'm saying? But it created support. So these were things that I had already annotated that there was a possibility that I was going to retest this high, but it retested the support structure of it, which was okay. You know what I'm saying? So we'll have to see like what it shows us. Because again, we're still in the same area that we're looking for. We're still having the same methodology that we've been, staying true to, and the market has been definitely paying us for it. So it gapped down last week, did that fake pullback, dropped down. What was that? 9 a.m. So this was the push up, and then obviously going into 9 a.m. So really going into Monday, Tuesday, you probably just rather just wait for what the 9 a.m. candle is going to show you. You know what I'm saying? If you make a couple of dollars on Sunday. But as you can see, it respected the Sunday's candle. So as long as it did, well, where was it? Friday's candle, my bad. This was Friday's candle. But either way, it still respected it. So we'll just see what the market shows us. Like I said, we are up, so I have no reason to believe that we're going to come down to these lower levels. But could it retest back down to this resistance zone? Possibly. You know what I'm saying? That's not too far fetched above it, especially with if you look how candles kind of open funny, and that kind of puts a red flag in my brain that I need to pay attention to this. So if it came back down to 42.2, that would be no surprise, traders. So pay attention to that number on US 30, 42.2. It comes back down there, you'll be like, wow. Like, but it's like it's not a surprise. Like it's only amazing that it happened, but it's not a surprise to us no more. We're predicting where these areas that the market could return down to. Whether we're off a little bit, you know what I'm saying? We're still in the ballpark. So say if you would have entered here 42.3, you still would have been straight if you could handle the drawdown, which let me see. Yeah, that would have been more because for me as a trader with US 30, my drawdown would have been somewhere around there or maybe a little bit right there. You know what I'm saying? If I would have entered here. See what I'm saying? So that wouldn't have put me in jeopardy. It would have been ugly. You know what I'm saying? It would have been like, damn, it would have been ugly, but nobody enters perfectly in this market. And if you're due, you're blessed. You know what I'm saying? If I would have stayed with my original entry, which was 42.250, yeah, that would have been an amazing entry just for the market to try to reach. Well, this was really a retest. And push a little bit lower and then brought the market up. You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that would have been a perfect entry, but missed it. You know what I mean? I missed it chasing the wrong thing and stuff. But again, we'll go into more talks about like minimizing losses within the market because we all make these mistakes. But again, it's about one thing that I always emphasize is that you need to take your money. If you take money when those days come where the market's playing against you, you can actually stay in the fight compared to other traders. That has definitely been my experience. Now, I don't recommend you trying to make a bunch of money so you can hold the drawdown, but you want a little bit more cushion than everybody else, if that makes sense. So that's my predictions for US 30. We're in the right area that we want to be. It's just all about executing the proper entry. We know that 9 a.m. is going to do some off the wall shit. So just be in preparation that the 9:30 candle is going to either take you out of profit or try to make you second guess where you're at. Now, if you're in a position that's as low as like the Sunday's candle or the previous Sunday's candle, then you probably don't have nothing to worry about besides seeing how aggressive the market reacts. But if you're entering, obviously you want to wait until the 9:30 candle closes, you know what I'm saying? Or gets to the point where it's about to open up to the 10 o'clock candle. But again, we're up. Turn it to a line chart. It's moving sideways. One of the areas that we know we need to see, even if we don't treat this as an inverted head and shoulder, and we should be going to the moon from here. Like that's just pretty much. I don't see any other direction besides up, to be honest, especially from where we came from. And this is what I talked about. The buy is going to be slow and make you believe that it's trying to sell because it's going to push down so aggressive that you're going to believe that, yo, this thing is selling, it's reversing. Nah, we every push down, even on the major ones, every major push down we have had so far has been a push back up. Just pay attention to that. Hell, I would even say that because Friday's been so consistent with buying, like just pay attention. Okay, you make your money Monday, Tuesday, look at Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday it's going in, Thursday going into Friday has been seeming like the buy move. You know what I'm saying? Like that has been the consistency for the past 3 Fridays. Now, don't just listen to that and go with that notion, but just pay attention to the technicals because at this point, that's the only thing that matters. The fundamentals are just going to be things that, like for instance, NFP on Friday was just the trigger for the market to push up, and it did. You know what I'm saying? I even said to my group before the 8:30 candle drop that I think non-farm payrolls is going to push the market up aggressively and to the moon we go. And once we get cleared off of NFP, we know that that's the direction that we're going. So 45,000K, like yeah, I see US 30 heading there. Now let's look at S&P and obviously cryptocurrency. and that'll be our weekly overview. So lock in, traders, lock the fuck in. Like I promise you, lock in. Don't try to chase the market, but just lock in and be in preparation. We've been pretty much mastering these time zones that we've been looking at. You know what I'm saying? Like we've been seeing like how the market responds. We've been waiting for the 9 o'clock candle. We've been talking about what could happen at 10:30. We've been seeing that sometimes the 11:30 candle pulls back. We've been seeing all this shit we need to see in order to put us in the right direction. And it has been paying us. It has been paying us. Don't think that because you don't see $1 million that it hasn't been paying us. It has been paying us, yo. We just got to execute and not, when you make your money, just settle and say, okay, I got the break. I'm waiting on the retest. Let me get the retest, and then I'll re-enter in the market. Now that might be you sitting 2-3 days on your hands just to wait for the market to come back to that entry. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're getting into because again, the buy is going to be tricky, but it's evident. You know what I'm saying? But it's going to be slow and it's going to make you question like, is this thing buying or is it trying to sell? It's buying. We're buying, yo. You should only think buys from here. Even over here, inverted head and shoulder. Like, but I don't even want to talk about the pattern anymore because I don't want us to get confused and miss opportunities if it does create another form of a bullish trend, but not that pattern. You see what I'm saying? So S&P, right? 6,000. That's what we've been talking about. We've been talking about it going to 6,000. I even said that once it hits 6,000, it might treat that as resistance. Probably not, but we can see that it's stalled out here. So I expect it to at least react to it and maybe pull the market down slightly. So if we get a gap to the downside, awesome. If we don't, we still know the direction. We just got to play towards how the market is gapping. So yeah, I could definitely see S&P um, coming back down to these levels. Hell, S&P, the way it looks like it wants to come back a little bit lower, maybe back to this gap. This is a gap right here. Is this a gap right here? No, this was structure. I don't know if I left this as a gap. But anyway, same thing S&P, right? I had mentioned that S&P could come back to our level of 59.20. That was I had a buy stop there, which it didn't come exactly back into it. It came like above it, but still confirmed my overall bias on are we buying? Broke through this structure, and now we're just kind of waiting for it to pull back, right? So we're either going to shallow pull back to this consolidation level, as you can kind of see with US 30. Right here, this consolidation, or it'll come back to this level over here, because we kind of haven't bound. Oh no, that got retested. So we can either come back to this level or the market will come back to this level right here. So we'll just have to see. Like I said, I do think that this is a fake out. And even if it does pop up, I still think that the market is going to try to pull below this number in order to push back up. So if we get a buy up, I think that especially if the gap isn't like monstrous, if we get the buy up, I think that the market will use this as resistance and then bring the market down and then shoot it back up, if that makes sense. But we'll just have to see because this is consolidation. So if this is acting as what we've been seeing, the market should remain bullish from here. But S&P hasn't been like straightforward as what's the high for? It hasn't been as straightforward as US 30. The only difference is that US 30 is just stronger. You know what I'm saying? It's just more aggressive against your trading account, especially when you only have like $1,000, $500 in there. Y'all know how menacing that could be. But I do think that again, every push down has been a buy up. So if we get a push down, it's a buy up. But like I said, I think that we're respecting this candle. What time frame do I need to see? Same thing, bullish engulfing. So same thing, bullish engulfing. So once it breaks out of this area, yeah, so I'm not even really trying to anticipate the pullback anymore. If it breaks out of this area, I'm buying up and then I'm going to be in preparation for it to try to pull back to this level. But it'll probably buy up and then it'll come back to these levels. What we've been seeing happening, we've been seeing it'll buy up Monday, Tuesday, Monday time frame, then come back Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday in order to retest, and then a buy back up will be Friday. That has been the trend. So, excuse me. That has been the trend so far, and I'm playing to that logic, but I'm not like entering expecting the market to do that. No, I'm waiting for more data, and then I'm gonna execute when I feel comfortable, whenever that is. You know what I'm saying? So either way, we are bullish. You just have to execute the market properly to stay with it. And again, it's gonna make you think that, oh man, it has levels. I've seen this before in the market where we buy and we'd be like, there's no way it's gonna keep, and it just keeps going. It's gonna keep going. It's not coming back to these levels. So even though it looks like, oh man, we're building resistance, even when it gets to this level, we're gonna believe that it could probably pull all the way back down here. No, that's not how indices work. You know what I'm saying? When they're ready to do that, they're doing that. But when they're not, it's just more of a game that they're trying to play against retail traders such as me and you, that's basically trying to manipulate us out of the market and say, hey, like, well, basically force you out of your positions. Because again, we know what? We know that when they take our money, that gains more liquidity for them. So what happens when your stop loss get hit? It normally goes in the opposite direction, doesn't it? Yep. You've seen that happen, whether it's a short term or whether it's a long term. Well, that was enough capital that they took from somebody in order to switch directions of the market or make the market go in the intended direction that it was looking at to go in the first place. But we're bullish, so that's what I'm believing. As you can see, this plays into the fundamental aspect of the tech rally that they were talking about. Same thing with Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. I mentioned that this is consolidation and that it could retest the high, but what did it decide to do? It decided to retest the low of it where it created wicks at, which that's still support. But again, Bitcoin is so new that it's like nobody was paying attention to that. You know what I'm saying? Because the expectation is like with regular trading or the fundamentals of trading is that it should have came back to this level right here. You know what I'm saying? But because cryptocurrency is new, it's gonna do what it's gonna do. But it created support at this consolidation, which we've seen before in indices. So this isn't like some unfamiliar way that the market has moved. It's just that it's not consistent on you to be able to say, oh yeah, it's definitely going to come back to this imbalance. That's not how crypto works. But we're up. We're up. There's no reason to believe that we're no longer up. You know what I'm saying? I was skeptical in the past, but obviously I've been not, I was skeptical. I just thought that we were going to have another correction and definitely punched me in the face by getting out of my positions at 15K. But again, it's still early. You know, I do believe the crypto bro community when they say that you're still early, especially if they're talking about, again, y'all saw my video where I said that one guy said that, yo, Bitcoin has the possibility to go to 700K. Look at that. Look, I couldn't even do it in one swoop. I had to keep like clicking. 700K. Bro, that looked like it'll take. And he said this wasn't the thing about it. It wasn't that I couldn't see that. Of course, I could see a lot of these markets in like hundreds, thousands, hundreds, 200 years. Not even probably that. Maybe more than that. 500 years. If they're still playing with currency like this, yeah, doing that. But this guy said 2030. He said 2030 that the expectations for Bitcoin is to go that high. That's kind of insane. And I'll have to do a little bit more research. But what does that tell you? That doesn't mean you put all your money towards Bitcoin. That tells you these other stable coins, the other altcoins and stuff, they're gonna start moving based off of Bitcoin because it's the leading, it's the head honcho. You know what I'm saying? It's the index that's leading the charge to show you, yes, cryptocurrency is real and it does bring in equity. You see what I'm saying? But that's all I have for our weekly review. Again, like it's where we want to be. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not even gonna like this is like, yeah, the market is you're gonna lose in the market, but we're exactly where we want to be traders, I promise you. So if you like this video, definitely hit that subscribe button. But I will see everybody on our next video with Digital Goats Academy, which will be our market overview. Everybody stay safe and have an amazing trading year. I'm talking about this should change financial circumstances, like for real. So I will catch everybody on the next video. This is Antoine Farrar signing out.